Great day, guys. It's another one from Dell Anthony. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, notification. We're going to get into a few things. We're going to get into the NBA. But first, we're going to talk about that NFL playoffs. And we're going to end it out with my Las Vegas Raiders. We lost out on Ben Johnson. But we got a couple of things to cover. Remember the last time I spoke, I talked about LeBron James' longevity. And I made a statement about how it was Lou Gehrig. No, it was Cal Ripken Jr. I knew that, but I didn't want to just do a take on, hey, no, it was Cal Ripken Jr. Anyway, stay tuned. We have a great show. I'm going to talk about some things. I hope you get in the comments. Once again, like and subscribe. Real Sports with Dell Anthony. This is how we do it. And we'll be right back. We're back. And great show today. What I want to talk about is the NFL playoffs. Great games, like amazing games all through. I have to definitely give a shout out to Lamar Jackson 2.0, who is Jaden Daniels. His poise is unquestioned. Heisman Trophy winner. But he's unbelievable, guys. Just his poise, how he got the Commanders looking like they can actually get to the Super Bowl. I think they can actually beat the Eagles. Going back to my final take with the Raiders, that's what I mean. Burn it down. The Commanders burned it down. The ownership, coaching, general manager, everything. And now look at it. I mean, the Commanders look great. I'm going to always see them as the Redskins. Sorry about that. But the Commanders look good. It's just unbelievable how they came together as a team to upset the Lions. But you got to remember, there's a difference between being the hunter and the hunted. Last year, the Lions was a feel-good story. They were the hunters, so they was looking to shock people. But heavy is the head that wears the crown. So when they played last time, they had no warm-up games. 18 defensive injuries they had to deal with. And I want to say something that I hope I'm not picking on the guy or beating him when he's down. But that same Lions team made a trade with the Rams to get Stafford over to the Rams after Jared Goff got them to the Super Bowl. And it's because Jared Goff is that quarterback where he's really good. You'd rather have him than not have him. But when it comes to big games and pressure, remember, guys, you've heard me for the longest say pressure does two things: bust pipes or create diamonds. He's one of those bust pipe type of guys. He will really fold under pressure, and you've seen that this weekend. Throws he knew he shouldn't have made, a fumble where he knew the pocket was collapsing, because he's one of those quarterbacks, if you get pressure on him and his timing gets off, he kind of panics like a Matt Ryan from Atlanta. And that's what happened. He just was panicky, didn't realize to protect the ball. I'm going to go down here, got hit. And that changed the complexity of the game. The interception before the halftime instead of kicking a field goal. But in saying all that, we got to go to the Commanders. I'm going to tell you right now. Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, the two coordinators of Detroit, excuse my French for those under 16 years of age, they got their asses kicked. Both coordinators got their asses kicked. Even though Ben Johnson got 31 points out of his team, he got his ass kicked. That defense just had him looking like he's a coordinator, not a head coach. But the Commanders, Jaden Daniels, I mean, for 6 straight weeks, we've seen that man show a poise to where he rallies his team. They believe in him, and the organization is different. Cliff Kingsbury, we had him in our building, guys. We had that offensive coordinator in our building. Shouts out for Dan Quinn for not being discouraged by the silver and black and just going for the guy that he wanted to get him in that building. Once again, hit that like, hit that subscribe. It's just unbelievable, the Commanders, and hats off to them. And I think sneakily they can beat the Eagles and end up in that Super Bowl. I think even if Saquon Barkley is not featured, I think the Commanders can win that game. Now, to the Eagles, Saquon Barkley, you heard it here first. If they do not go to the Super Bowl, you're going to hear about an inner destruction within the team from within. And the reason I'm saying that is what teammates, especially offensive linemen, don't rally to get their guy a record. That still sits funny with me, that they did not allow him to get the record. For team success, that's not guaranteed. They should go to the Super Bowls. They got everything, but pressure busts pipes. And if you watch the game with the Rams, if it wasn't for the snow, I think the Rams would have pulled that game out, because they took their best shot, was still holding up, but too many turnovers at the end, too many sacks at the end. I think the Rams, being a Los Angeles team, just couldn't handle that snow the way we do in the Northeast. Now we got to get to the elephant in the room. Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. I'm not going to talk about Kansas City. I'm a Raider guy, and they will do whatever they can to glorify Patrick Mahomes, for them to win a game or get certain calls. We call that the Brady effect. We call that the Jordan effect. Patrick Mahomes is the epitome right now. So there's going to be calls that are questionable just so the team can stay there. It's like the Lakers against Sacramento back in the day when they had like 21 fouls against Sacramento to the Lakers 3. And Webber and them lost because the people wanted to see the Lakers and Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant and the beautiful triangle offense keep winning. So to beat the Chiefs, you have to beat them. You have to beat the referees. You have to beat the Andy Reid out coaching him. You have to beat Mahomes. You have to lock up Kelsey, because Kelsey looked like the Kelsey of old. And the Texans was young and hungry, but I think missing Tank Dell, us Dells must stick together, but I think missing Tank Dell kind of hurt them. But great playoffs. Lamar Jackson, he outplayed Josh Allen. So I know because they went further, they're going to say Josh Allen is the MVP. Here's the contradiction of that. They're saying Josh Allen has less, so the reason he should be the MVP, because the Bills need him more than the Ravens really need Lamar Jackson. So if that's the case, give the MVP to Jaden Daniels, because without him, the Commanders would be nothing, and he's had more poise than Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. But that's a take for another time. But Lamar Jackson was the better quarterback on the field yesterday. You can say, but no, he threw an interception and fumbled. Okay, the fumbling was a mishap, trying to do too much, slipping. The interception, yeah, he let the ball get away from him. But did you see that drive when they needed it at the end of the game? Not only did Andrews' first fumble cost them the game when he got stripped, when it was punched out by Bernard, I believe, he had the 2-point conversion right in his hand. We don't know what would have happened. So Mark Andrews cost the Ravens a berth to the AFC Championship, not Lamar Jackson. He played his rear end off. And if you're not going to do a co-MVP, you got to give it to Lamar Jackson. Sorry, Josh Allen didn't do anything to win. He just did not lose it. He was game managing, the same thing Jeff Hotler used to do for the Giants and what Brad Johnson did for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All he did was manage it. Yeah, he got 2 rushing touchdowns, but we're talking about MVP as far as who has the most impact and something special. But he did give a nice, I guess, kind words, what he said about Lamar Jackson. It shows that he's a class act. I'm not angry who gets it, but if you're going to go by impact, Lamar Jackson. If you want to go by who team went further, who I think these awards sometimes go to a team that went further, Josh Allen can get it, and I won't be mad at that. He's really a classy guy, and he's really a talented quarterback. So I'm okay with that too. We'll be back about the NBA. I want to talk about how they say the viewership is down and stuff like that, and I want to get into that. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. We're back with Live with Dell. Anthony, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Please, join us. We trying to build something here. Real content, real comments that can be asked, real unfiltered sports talk. The NBA. I've heard people say the reason why the NBA is failing is because everybody shoots three-pointers. Everybody shoots three-pointers. All the offenses stay the same. The reason why basketball or the NBA is losing their fans, there's three reasons. One, the fundamentals of the game is not the same. Like if you go back to the 80s, early 90s, even the 2000 up to about 2000 and probably 9, 10, people were fundamentally sound. They were able to break you down off the dribble. They were able to hit the people cutting. They was able to pass it out to the wing. They was able to get the big man inside, and the loss of the big man is what's hurting the game, because now you got a bunch of 6'10", 6'11", 7-foot people taking jump shots. Nobody wants to see that. We like to see the land of the giants and people dominate inside. Basketball used to be inside out. Now it's outside, and if you get a rebound and put it back, that counts. But I'm going to tell you what destroyed the NBA. What made it great is what destroyed it. The European players, those players are more fundamentally sound. So the reason why the NBA is losing this thing is because we're in America. Sorry. Shouts out to the inauguration today. But the American game are not, the kids are not being developed fundamentally. They're in AAUs. They're building up a coach's brand or building up a sponsor's brand, but they're not fundamentally knowing the game. So in not knowing the game, these European players are coming in, and they're the fundamentally sound players. And America, sorry, we're not tuned into that. We like to read our own story. Why do you think Caitlin Clark was so big? Because she's a homegrown girl that's from here, that everybody's like, we could rally behind that. You can't rally behind a Wemby, a Luka, a Bogdanovic, because they're not really from here, but their game is more fundamentally sound. So it's like one of those, you can't beat them, join them. The American players really can't beat them, so now they're shooting threes too, because that's the European game. The European game was a three-point game. In America, we was, you know what I mean? If it ain't rough, it ain't right. A la Detroit Pistons, a la the Lakers of the 80s, the Bulls of the 90s. But the rules changed because the NBA needed a way to make Michael Jordan glorified. Remember, I told you everything is about marketing. Before they changed the rules, Jordan wasn't winning championships. They made it to where there was no hand checking, so it can make the game more offensive, because remember, it was all defensive, to where even in the 94 season, the Knicks and the Rockets made the championships. If you remember, after the Rockets beat the Knicks in 7 games, I believe it was David Stern made a statement where he said, a football team will never represent us in the NBA again for the championship, because the game was so physical. So there's no more heroes and villains, because there's no more, if it ain't rough, it ain't right. But they changed those rules for Jordan. So everybody want to glorify Jordan as being the best. He's the reason why the NBA has lost its luster, because they needed people like him and Scottie Pippen to be able to show their athleticism, because Mason and Oakley was like this. They was cock strong. Everybody does this now after they make a play. They go, ah. But that's who Oakley and Mason and Barkley and Otis Thorpe, that's who these guys were. Moses Malone, Karl Malone, that's who these guys were. So they changed the rules so people could get more flashy. But then a funny thing happened. His name was Steph Curry. So when he gets into the game, the reason why people love Steph Curry, not just because he can shoot, because Dell Curry can shoot, Reggie Miller can shoot, Dale Ellis can shoot, Sedell Threatt can shoot, Nick Anderson can shoot, Penny Hardaway can shoot. Michael Cooper was the first original three-point specialist, him and Danny Ainge. The reason why they like Steph Curry, and I want you to think about this, is because they make an average Joe guy think, I could have played in the NBA too. In a land full of giants, he looks like a little guy that could be a school teacher that could hit threes from anywhere. Not realizing he learned the game and how to shoot from one of the best shooters we had in NBA history, and his father, Dell Curry. That's the reason why people love Steph Curry. Because Steph Curry gets just, Draymond Green for their championships get just as much credit. Because if Draymond didn't do the dirty stuff, it wouldn't free him to shoot. If you remember, Iguodala was the MVP. Kevin Durant was the MVP. Steph Curry just got an MVP this year, as far as in the finals. But the rule change happened because of Michael Jordan. They had to make it where you couldn't hand check, you couldn't get physical. Remember, Detroit had the Jordan rules? Beat Michael Jordan up, keep making him work hard, and eventually he's going to wear down. So they changed those rules so Jordan and Pippen can flourish, so that Chicago Bulls dynasty can become the dynasty it became. It was great for basketball. It put us, and I say us, I'm sorry, I'm just talking as a fan, but it put the NBA to a level. Now, everybody's just shooting. Do you know why everybody's just shooting? Because of Steph Curry. And the fake old analytics that says, hey, 3 is better than 2. Yeah, but 3 doesn't have a higher percentage than 2. But because Steph Curry practiced so much and made it look so easy, everybody's shooting 3s. Nobody wants that physical contact. You know, another thing that's hurting their game is load management. Load management. Now, here's where people don't use common sense. If I'm a regular 9 to 5. If I'm a regular 9 to 5 guy, well, I'll say regular 9 to 7 guy, because I got to do 10-hour shifts because of my position. If I'm doing that, and I finally say, I'm going to take you to a game, son. I'm going to take you to a game, daughter. And I get them to the game, and they go, oh, the Los Angeles Lakers play the Phoenix Suns, but LeBron James is not playing. Or the Phoenix Suns is playing, but Kevin Durant is not playing. Or the Los Angeles Clippers and Kawhi Leonard is not playing. You are now isolating the fans. And because it's our fault as fans, because by going to the games, they're making the money to pay these guys $200 million, $300 million, $400 million. And by doing that, a guy don't have to play every game. Whereas in the 80s and 90s, you might have had to earn your paycheck. You had to play. So you couldn't take load management because you had to play. You had to earn your money. You don't have to do that now because you get so much money. You can say, well, I don't want to play now. Here's another thing. We put, instead of rewarding people for playing hard and admiring their greatness, we make everything about championships. So now if you make it about championships, people are not going to want to play. because they said if I hurt myself, it hurts my team for going to win a championship. So fans, by going to the box office and the Ticketron and making these guys make so much money and letting these billionaire owners who can actually afford to really own the team, and then saying that we're going to glorify championships instead of doing what really matters, we turn it around, left it up to that, and now guys don't want to play. But back in the 80s and 90s, people did play 70 games, 80 games, 82 games, because they knew that fan doesn't have a chance to see them if they sit out. Now it's not about the fans, it's about the corporate sponsors. Once those teams got those corporate people to come in, they don't care whether or not. The Knicks have been selling out forever because James Dolan got those corporate seats, those celebrity seats. So the regular mom and pa who finally take their son to a game, they might be low management and they don't get to see their favorite player. So all of that in the ball has made the NBA less watchable. I remember when you couldn't wait to watch an NBA game back in the mid to late 80s, early 90s, because you would go right out to the park and play after that, or to the schoolyard with the crates up, playing crate ball, or an Echo Park bucket ball. You did all that stuff because you was excited after you watched the game. But the game is so watered down now. The big man is not used no more. People don't even draft for big men. They don't even draft for big men. They'll grab a big man from Europe or something and say, oh, we're going to develop him. That's why Wemby was the hottest topic, because he was a big man, but he could play a little man's game. So that's just my take on that. You know, put your comments below if you think something different. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. We'll be back with my final take, which will be about my Las Vegas Raiders. For my final take, so we got to get a sip of my Mountain Dew, sorry. It's not a sponsor. I just love Mountain Dew and Pepsi. I'm trying to get off of that, get into water and tea. But for my final take is about our Las Vegas Raiders. Raider Nation, hit that like, hit that subscribe. We lost out on Ben Johnson today. For reports, he's going to go to Chicago. The one thing the Raiders are trying to... Remember a few takes ago I kept saying, burn it down. So Telesco's gone, Pierce is gone. Tom Brady's handling the football affairs because Mark Davis knows nothing about football. He's just a party person. I think he needs to sell a team. Look at what they did in Washington with the Commanders. But Ben Johnson was never going to come to the Raiders. That's all feel-good stuff, so Mitchell Renz could get his view, homeboy in LA could get his views. If you know anything about football, an offensive coordinator that's working on of being a genius, of getting things like mixing it around, is never going to come to the Raiders. We have nothing for them to do that with. Gotta burn it down. Don't look for these hot shot coordinators. We need people that can come in and get the structure right, a la Dan Campbell in Detroit, Andy Reid in Kansas City, D'Amico Ryans, Texans. That's what we need. Michael Tomlinson, Pittsburgh, even though he's not coming. I'm saying that to say that's what we need. We don't need all this. You go that way, you go that way, you come this way. We don't need anybody that could do that yet. We need to get the structure. We need to get the structure. Build it from the bottom up, not from the top down. Leadership starts at the top, but the foundation must be built from the bottom to the top. Leadership at the top, but it got to be built from the bottom up. That's what we need to do. Ben Johnson was never coming. Belichick, I would love to see him. Tony Dungy, Herm Edwards. Mike Vrabel's with the Patriots. All these good people are being taken. We don't need no Deion Sanders. We don't need no hot shot somebody else coming in here that's flashy. We need somebody about structure. We need structure, no nonsense. We need a grown man coach in Las Vegas. Remember what I told you. New York is the city that never sleeps, and Las Vegas is the city that always creep. So you need structure to come in there. Period. End of story. Burn it down. Straight up and down. So if you fans are a little upset, like, oh, I thought we was going to get Ben Johnson. Oh, man, I thought we was going to get Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson was never going to come. We'll be better hiring Rex Ryan, because he'll bring his brother Rob in for defense, who's really, really good. I think Rob Ryan is actually with us still. But you could bring him in. He'll be good. I think Jack Del Rio will be good. I think the defensive coordinator for Kansas City would be good for us. He tried it with the Rams. He wasn't too good. He's a coordinator. But I think he's a man. He's going to make you be accountable for what needs to be done. We need to free Max Crosby. We need to get rid of Max Crosby, not in a negative way. Check the tape, guys. His energy is good, but he's very overrated. He overruns plays. He's never in the right position. He's always whatever. He's a good person to have in your building, but we're in the 8th place. We're in the 8th slot now, 8th or 9th. So to get multiple picks, we got to build it up. We got to get multiple picks. If there's a way we could trade him, we don't have nobody else to trade. I didn't know. I thought we got a lot of picks from the Jets. I got to look that up. I thought we got some good stuff from the Jets for Devontae Adams, but maybe we didn't. Maybe it's for future years. But we got to burn it down. We got to start all over. We don't need a fancy offensive coordinator. We need a disciplined offensive coordinator. Because Aiden O'Connell is not that quarterback. He's not going to be able to match wits with Mahomes and Herbert. He's not. He's not. It doesn't matter how you slice it. He's not. Bo Nix is even showing me something. We need an offensive coordinator that could just teach Aiden O'Connell 3-step drops out of your hands. 3-step drops out of your hand. Play action, pass play, over the top. You got Bowers and Myers. Build around them. And just get Tucker's fast, but we need a fast, disciplined guys. We also need somebody who can go up and get the ball, but we also need somebody that can stretch the field. I mean, literally, Henry Ruggs, he's an idiot too. Henry Ruggs / Tyreek Hill stretching the field. I think we need to make a strong push for T. Higgins. A strong push for T. Higgins. I think even if he wants to become one of the highest paid wide receivers, I think you could do that. Did you see what he was doing with the Bengals when he got hurt? He came back, and the last 2 games that they could have tried to get to the playoffs, he was a monster. You can't check him. You can't stop him. We need to really go after Higgins to get us a legitimate number 1. I think Myers is a good number 2/3, but we need to get a top number 1 receiver that Aiden O'Connell could get confidence with. I like Aiden O'Connell, but we need a coordinator that can build Aiden O'Connell. I don't know why we let Cliff Kingsbury out the building, because even if we couldn't guarantee him that 3rd year because we didn't know what we was doing with Pierce, he could have stepped in right now. Because he would have been working with Aiden O'Connell this whole year. Patrick Graham. I like Patrick Graham. But even when he was with the Giants, he does okay. But he's not that defensive coordinator where the team is disciplined, where they don't get stupid penalties. They're just very aggressive. We need someone who could come in with discipline. I would love Pete Carroll to come to Las Vegas. I think he'll be an amazing coach. Oh, he blew it in Seattle. He was trying to let him run the ball, and throw the ball instead of running it, and they cost Seattle the Super Bowl. No, no. Pressure bust pipes or create diamonds. He got outsmarted by the greatest coach ever to coach, which is Bill Belichick, because everyone thought they're going to run the ball with Marshawn Lynch. So before you say it was a dumb move, it wasn't a dumb move. It was a dumb throw by Russell Wilson. What he was trying to do is say, if I fake it to Marshawn Lynch, everybody's going to come at him, and then he should be able to pop it over for the touchdown. The problem is, if you watch the play, I could be wrong. I got to check it again after, because I could be making a statement that's wrong. I thought it should have been a play-action pass play, and then he dropped it off, and I think that's what happened. If that's not what happened, he just said hike and threw it. And because Bill Belichick was smart enough to know they might do that, is any other coach, that would have been a touchdown from Seattle. As Barkley would say, guarantee. Any other team, that would have been a touchdown. But because it was Bill Belichick, it was an interception. I think Louis Riddick should get a shot as GM, or Mike Tannenbaum, who used to be with the Jets, should come in. They know how to build structure. They know how to work salary cap. They know how to do all that stuff. I believe the NFL is diversifying, if you get my drift. And I think Louis Riddick could come in and make a couple of moves, because other people would respect him and have respect for him and make moves for him. But it's a 3-year process, guys. Sorry, Raider fans. I'm a big-time Raider fan. My nickname is Raider. But it's going to take us some time, because people have to trust our system. Hopefully by the next time I get on, we'll have a head coach that we could kind of be thankful of or get optimistic about. But we got Tom Brady. We need to try to get Mark Davis to sell the team and bring other rejuvenated situations in. But until then, we got to burn it down. Thank you so much for tuning in. Without you guys, there's no me. Shouts out to Isaiah and Talia. Those are my grandbabies. Pop loves you. Make it a great day. And God bless. Hit that like and hit that subscribe. Easy.